So I was thinking about the phrase 90's kid, which has been up for debate on the internet recently because kids born in the late 90's are now starting to enter adulthood, which is pretty scary. And now they're claiming to be 90's kids just because they were born in the 1990's, but they missed out on most of the decade. So obviously, people born before 1990 have a problem with that. And I happen to side with them. Being born in the early 1990's, I can't really claim to be a 90's kid because I wasn't there for all of the decade, but I was there for most of it. Although technically I can't really say that because I was born in late 1994. But I think the real difference isn't between whether you were born before or after 1990. The real difference should be made whether you were born before or after 1995. So whether you're an early 90's kid or a late 90's kid. And there are some definite differences between the two. For some reason, that magic year of 1995, if you were born in that year, you could be in either group. But the differences that I'm going to outline are generalizations for if you were born before or after that year. And I've just thought of some examples just now. For example, start on a serious note. If you were born before 1995, you remember pretty well being let out early from school when September 11th happened. If you were born after 1995, you weren't even in school yet, and you probably don't even remember September 11th at all. Maybe you do. If you were born before 1995, when you ate Lucky Charms as a kid, you remember there being pots of gold in the cereal. And the song goes, hearts, stars, and horseshoes, clovers, and blue moons, pots of gold and rainbows, and the red balloon. But if you were born after 1995, you remember hourglasses instead of pots of gold. Just isn't right. Just isn't right how they do that. How they argue that it's hourglasses and not pots of gold when we know there were pots of gold. And speaking of food products, the drink Capri Sun pouches did not have clear bottoms if you were born before 1995. So the color of the actual liquid that you were drinking was a mystery. I actually remember spitting it back out onto my hand to see what color the liquid was. Now they got clear bottoms on Capri Sun, so if you're born in the late 90's, you probably never wondered what color Capri Sun was. Let's see, what are some other ones? In the world of entertainment and technology, if you were born before 1995, you had a hit clip which you wore on your pants, and you had this little square that you would stick into it and would play like a minute and a half of NSYNC in terrible quality audio, just terrible audio quality. And if you were born in the late 90's, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because you had CD players. Well, not us. We were the last to listen to cassettes, us early 90's kids. Also, if you were born before 1995, your first cell phone you didn't get till you were in middle school or high school. And it was a flip phone. It would flip open and it would only have so many keys. So if you wanted to type a letter, you would have to press it a certain number of times to get it right. And if you wanted to type the same letter twice in a row, you had to press the next button and then go back to the letter, and it was a big pain in the ass. So then we evolved into the slide phones, which would slide up, and you'd have a whole row of like a bunch of keys that were like so little that if you had big fingers, it was hard to press one at a time. And of course, that evolved into smartphones. If you were born after 1995, you probably didn't have a flip phone as your first phone. You probably started with at least the slide phone or maybe even the smartphone. And you probably got your cell phone in 6th grade. These are the things I think about, that I'm lucky to have been born when I was born, so I can at least say that I'm with a more original class of people who got to actually witness the beginnings of YouTube, this wonderful social networking site that wasn't even really social networking. Before there was a phrase social networking, we started social networking on MySpace, probably, most of us in the early 90s. And the fad of MySpace had already gone passé for most of you late 90s kids. You probably started on Facebook or Twitter. You know. So, this video is dedicated to all my homies born between 1990 and 1994. And maybe some of the kids born in 1995. But like I said, if you were born in 95, you could go either way. So, peace.